The downpour pounded against the corroded metal roof of the weathered auto shop, water dripping rhythmically onto the concrete floor where Daniel sat hunched beside a partially assembled engine. His oil-stained fingers shook, though not from fatigue. This time, the tremors came from the devastating impact of her words that continued to reverberate through his thoughts. "Fix it and I'll marry you." She had chuckled as she spoke, her companions snickering behind her, yet Daniel remained stone-faced. Not because he lacked the ability to laugh, but because her ridicule felt like a blade twisting in an old injury that had scarcely mended. For 3 years, he had been reconstructing engines just as he attempted to reconstruct himself. But what happens when even your hands, the only tools you have faith in, cannot repair the one thing that remains most damaged? Your heart. Daniel hadn't always worked as a mechanic. He once harbored dreams of becoming an engineer, creating automobiles that could transform the world. But those aspirations had been abandoned, destroyed beneath mounting debts, his father's unexpected death, and the treachery of the woman he once believed would be his forever. Claire. Even in this moment, her name burned like corrosion slicing through his flesh. He had offered her everything. His time, his love, his devotion, only to discover she had been involved with another man. What made it worse, she hadn't even attempted to conceal it when she departed. Her final words to him had been frigid and cutting. "You'll never achieve anything meaningful, Daniel. Stop living in fantasy." From that point forward, his existence had contracted to the 4 grease-smeared walls of his workshop. And that's when she materialized, the woman in the crimson dress. Melissa Thompson, CEO of Thompson Motors. Wealthy, stunning, unreachable. She had sauntered into his shop one stormy afternoon, carelessly dropping her car keys onto the workbench as if they held no value. Her voice carried smoothness, yet was sharpened with contempt. "The engine's dead. If you can repair it," she sneered, tossing her hair while her friends tittered, "I'll marry you." The mockery slashed through the atmosphere like a lash. Daniel went rigid, the shame expanding within his chest. He offered no response, simply seized the keys and began his work. He could hear their amusement diminishing as they exited, abandoning him alone with the sound of rainfall and his own thundering pulse. For countless hours, Daniel labored in stillness. Every bolt he secured felt like striking back against each slight, each betrayal, each occasion someone declared he was insufficient. But as the clock struck midnight and the engine finally thundered back to life, he showed no satisfaction. Instead, he leaned back and murmured, "Even when you repair things, they don't remain fixed indefinitely." "Do they, Dad?" His father's aged photograph adorned the wall, smeared with grease and weathered by time. Daniel extended his hand, caressing it with quivering fingers. That evening, for the first time in years, he permitted himself to weep. Not solely for Claire, not merely for Melissa's contempt, but for every fragment of himself he had entombed beneath layers of pride and silence. The following morning, Melissa returned anticipating to collect her vehicle and perhaps deliver another jest. But rather than encountering sarcasm, she discovered Daniel positioned beside the hood, extending her the keys with a serene expression. "Your automobile is operating flawlessly," he stated. Melissa studied him, expecting bitterness, but found none. Only tranquil strength resided in his gaze. "What do I owe you?" she inquired casually, attempting to mask her unease. "Nothing," Daniel responded. Her eyebrows drew together. "Nothing? What?" "Because I wasn't repairing it for you," he explained simply, cleaning his hands. "I was repairing it for myself." The statement struck her with more force than she had anticipated. She remained there speechless as Daniel moved away to attend to another vehicle. There was no fury, no sarcasm, merely a quiet dignity that disturbed her more profoundly than any insult could have managed. A week afterward, Melissa returned, not bearing a car, but carrying 2 cups of coffee. She lingered uncomfortably in the entrance. "I wish to offer my apologies," she confessed, her voice gentler now. "That was heartless of me." Daniel glanced up, taken aback. He hadn't anticipated this development. "It's acceptable," he said following a moment's pause. "Sometimes individuals don't recognize the impact of their words." She placed the coffee upon his table. "Perhaps, but I needed to set things right." For the first time in years, Daniel sensed something transforming. A warmth that wasn't connected to romance or approval, but to the understanding that recovery sometimes arrives from unforeseen sources. Weeks evolved into months, and Melissa started visiting regularly, not from sympathy, but because she found herself attracted to his quiet strength. She observed how he interacted with strangers, how he instructed neighborhood children to change tires without charge, how he maintained an old vow to his father's memory alive each day. And one evening, as they sat outside observing the sunset beyond the dusty auto shop, Melissa spoke without amusement or scorn. "You understand," she said, "if I were to marry someone, I would select someone like you." Daniel laughed gently. "Fortunate that I'm no longer repairing engines for marriage proposals." They shared laughter. Not the hollow laughter of ridicule, but the variety that mends. Daniel never became Melissa's spouse, but he became something far more significant. Someone who ultimately pardoned himself, who discovered value not in another's approval, but in his own hands, his own path, his own compassion. Moral of the story. Genuine healing commences when you cease fixing yourself to earn love from others and begin rebuilding yourself because you deserve tranquility.